Welcome to Veterans in Transition. Each week we travel around the region highlighting veteran-related news, issues, and events. In this episode, we'll hear from the Director of the DC Department of Human Resources, aiding veterans with employment within the District of Columbia. In our Vets Talk series, we'll hear from retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Sharon Green, as she encourages other veterans about the transition process. And 36 and a half years later, this veteran shares his patience and love for his dream car. She is the Director of the Department of Human Resources. Prior to her service with the District of Columbia government, Ms. Gibson, a United States Navy veteran, served as the Associate Deputy Assistant Secretary for Human Resources for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. In her own words, here's her story.
One of the common sayings that I have governing this job is the best job ever. And the reason why it's the best job ever, because I get an opportunity to serve residents every day through others. I grew up in Washington, D.C. largely. I was born in Nelson County, Virginia, Roseland to be specific. And I have 5 brothers and no sisters. And I have parents and a military history with my uncles and a number of people in my background. And the 3 eldest of the 6 children, because we were not able to go to college because of the affordability factor at that time, we saw the military as a choice. For me, it was an easy decision because I always loved the military, and I specifically had a love for the United States Navy. I wanted to be a journalist, but the journalism school had a 2-year waiting list. And my recruiter said, "Why don't you be an air traffic controller?" And I said, fine. I became an air traffic controller in the United States Navy. So after I graduated from air traffic control school, my military orders was to the U.S. Naval Air Station, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I was the first woman air traffic controller, first woman on the base. That was eye-opening. And secondly, I was the only air traffic controller woman as well. And so it was a huge wake-up call for me as an African American, as a woman, and as someone who was stepping into a field that was totally new to me because, again, my choice was to be a journalist. I found Cuba to be one of the best training grounds for an air traffic controller. I found it to be rewarding. We changed the dynamics of how air traffic operated in that environment. I had the unique opportunity to work with the ships and the aircraft carriers. The first aircraft carrier commissioned that I worked with in training was the USS Nimitz. And when it was commissioned, it came to Cuba for fleet training. And a part of that fleet training was air traffic control and ensuring that planes came off of the aircraft carrier onto the base and back and forth. And that was absolutely one of the best things ever. My career spans from after getting out of the military and becoming an employee of the Department of Veterans Affairs, and in my growth in the human resources occupation, I then became Deputy Assistant Secretary after a number of years for human resources for the entire U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. At that time, when I was there, I was the highest ranking woman veteran. I transitioned into civilian life probably fairly easy because of the type of occupation I was in, that was a portable skill set that I could carry from the military to civilian life. I love serving residents of the district. I believe that it is an absolute joy to come to work every day knowing that the 37,000 employees that we have in the district government deserve the best from us.
I initially heard about this event through Sharon Wade at MOVA, so Mayor's Veterans Affairs Office here in DC. So I told him I was looking to transition to a different role, and he made sure he kept me in the loop. He let me know not only when it was, but where it was, obviously, and who was going to be here. He continued to communicate different opportunities that were going to be here. So when I came, I knew that DPR, they were going to be a vendor here. As soon as I came in, they were the first people I connected with, and got offered the job right away. So really looking forward to working with them.
This is actually my first one that I've been to, and he's the one who actually encouraged me to come and apply. I got hired as a library associate, at the DC Library. When I was still a student, we've gone to conferences where people got offers on the spot, and I never knew that it could happen to me. Yay! Today's my day.
It's important to me because I am a veteran of the United States Navy. Ensuring that veterans' employment has been a life calling. And when the mayor was interested in this event, it was almost the answer to a third calling of mine, because I began these similar programs with the federal government, one with the Department of Veterans Affairs, the second with the Federal Aviation Administration. I continued that vision into Health and Human Services, and the mayor has given me charge for ensuring that our district residents know, who are veterans, that DC government is an employer of choice. The Veterans Consideration Program for the District of Columbia is actually an extension of our veterans preference. We provide preference to our veterans, and now, in addition to that, they can be directly hired without competition. How does that match the federal government? The federal government has a very similar program for all federal agencies. What this does is it solidly places us, the District of Columbia, to be competitive in finding and hiring talent. And who best to go to for that talent but our nation veterans? The military experience was defining for me in that it clarified what my vision for my future would be. It grew me as a woman, and we always say that the military is very defining when it comes to maturing you pretty quick. Boot camp was absolutely petrifying, and I still remember everything about boot camp to this day, but we survived it. And I was in during the Vietnam era, and that was pretty eye-opening as well. And what I mean by that is towards the end of the Vietnam War, having the soldiers return home, and just knowing that I was a part of that era of our U.S. history, knowing that as an African-American woman, that I had one of the best experiences that the military could give. And I would encourage, to this day, anyone who's interested in the military to pursue that career. It is the best ever, separate from the job of being the Director of Human Resources for the district. I also believe that the military gives us something that most occupations could never give us, and that is we defend those who can't defend themselves.
The VA has an initiative called Vet Biz Ladies, designed to help women business owners get more opportunities to do business with the Department of Veterans Affairs. I had the opportunity to talk with Audrey Chambers Robinson with Anomo Healthcare Concepts. Here's that interview. So Audrey, tell me about your business.
Well, Anomo Healthcare Concepts is an innovative, cutting-edge health information technology company. We have a strong emphasis, a clinical emphasis. So a lot of our team members have a very strong clinical background, as well as having a strong emphasis and background in information technology.
And what prompted you to start your business, Audrey?
Well, just having a passion to go out and expand and make technology in the clinical capacity just more robust, more sound, more safe for patients. We believe in precision. You have to be precise to save a life, and there's so many avenues that we could go out and help so many customers with technology in the clinical space.
So you're part of the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Initiative Program with the Department of Veterans Affairs. That is an inaugural program. Tell me more about it.
Stacy, it's an exciting time for women-owned small business for Veteran Affairs. This is historical, and it's just trailblazing for us. It's a program this one like no other. I don't think there's any other federal agency that has this program, and so this is going to be something that's going to pave the way for other women-owned small businesses, absolutely. So we're being strategic, we're setting the pathway for something, for a great vision that's going to come from many, many others. Stacy, getting in front of very, very strategically in front of the buyers, being able to help federal agencies in a more expedient and strategic manner, and most of all, for women-owned small businesses to be able to have a voice and be given the fair opportunity to get in front of the clients and gain more and more revenue and more presence in the market.
I feel your passion, and I love what I'm hearing from you. So what has been one of the major takeaways that you've experienced from the program so far?
Inspiration, I would say. Inspiration to grow, to be a voice, to be a footprint, to be a trailblazing woman-owned small business. it's just not about me or my company. It's about all the other women-owned small businesses that come in the future, is the way that I envision this. To be able to have them that have a greater footprint in the market, to have a sense of being more strategic in how they navigate the federal space is very, very important. Understanding and demystifying the nuances that exist with doing federal government contracting, and just having a greater footprint in a way forward as to how they can actually just get through the whole government contracting, how they can team with people, and how they can optimize and grow their company.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today, and thank you so much for your feedback.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I was a machinist mate. We worked on diesel engines. We call them Siamese twins. Small LLCs, which is a light lift craft, were powered by diesel engines. So what our job was to keep those engines repaired, whether it be in the Philippines or whether it would be in Vietnam. The advantage of me being a machinist mate was you learn the technical aspects of machinery. You learn how to take an engine apart, you learn the different functions of an engine, and you decide at that point whether you want to do that as a career or not. But because the Navy trained me and I felt confident with the training, I decided to get my degree in business management. And from that job, I was able to excel in the federal government. I went from a machinist mate in the Navy to a procurement analyst with GSA. In 1969, when that Camaro came out, I looked at it. I was high school, just out of high school. I told myself, one day, I'm gonna buy that 69 Camaro. I thought about it, dreamt about it, and tried to find one until I retired from the federal government. 36 and a half years later, I bought that Camaro. Now the advantage was I took a white piece of paper and I wrote down everything I wanted. I wanted a 350 cubic inch engine, I wanted a 3-speed transmission, and I wanted a turnkey. That means that the car would start. I put a cam in it, I put headers on it, intake manifold, and an Edelbrock 4 barrel carburetor, and a new aluminum radiator. I have started and belong to DMV, District Maryland Virginia Cruise In. That's a car club. Our car clubs, we basically go to churches and community affairs, although we do go to car shows. But we have a family-oriented car show that caters to younger people who are trying to get into a hobby. We try to bring along the young people, and anything that involved with community affairs is what we mainly try to cater to. We're not that concerned about car shows per se, but we like the camaraderie, we like the networking of the groups of good people get together, tell good stories about good events.
Retired U.S. Army veteran Sharon Green is a minister, entrepreneur, author, and CEO of Altheus Consulting Group, where Sharon consults with business owners to be authentic leaders, where anything less than the truth is unacceptable.
So first of all, I'm not praying. And while those little voices in your head is wondering why I'm not saying anything, did you even pray for me? Because we're talking about vets in transition on tonight, and Vets Talk. And so we're going to talk. I'm going to talk to you. They told me something like a TEDx. I said, well, you're going to get the TED Extra. Because the thing about transition is you cannot successfully transition if you're stuck in your past. So when I took the mic and you just expected me to start talking and being excited and telling you who I am and I'm excited to be here, it's because you've experienced that before. And if I had more time, I would have took a lot longer and made you feel real uncomfortable. Something about silence, people don't know how to handle that. But it gives you great thoughts when you do something different and you have another expectation. Because the reality for us veterans that are in the room sounds like this. You were on active duty, and then you weren't. That's your transition. You were getting BAH, and then you were not. And I got problems with that. I said, if I divorced the Army, I can stand before any judge and say I have become accustomed to a lifestyle. I got problems with that. Don't you think it's a connection between homeless veterans and no BAH? But I had to move beyond that. And so we're vets who have transitioned. And the beautiful thing about that is, on this side, we were told where to be, what to wear, how long to stay. Pay never stopped. But on this side, you have to be the leader of your own self. You have to tell your own self what to do. But the beautiful thing is that on this side, we were fully equipped to do that. But ironically, we forget that. So when I'm going to talk to you, I might ask you to talk back, because that's what we're trained to do. We're trained, Command Sergeant Major, to follow instructions. We're trained to be obedient. We're trained to be team players. We're trained to have initiative. But the most important thing is we're trained to succeed. Nobody shows up anywhere like, I'm just going to fail. This is a new assignment. I don't know these people. This is a new place. I don't know where to go. I'm going to fail. You're not trained for that. But something happens when we got out. We got around people who do one thing the same way at the same time with the same people for years. And then you walk into that world and they're looking at you like, who are you? I've been doing the same thing for 30 years with the same people in the same place, and I do it well. And it took me 30 years to get here. It should at least take you 20. We don't know nothing about that. So now, in our veteran mentality, we have to be the same people who were told what to do that tell ourselves. But the beautiful thing is, you're not alone. You're trained to use the buddy system. We got the Army in the house. And for those of you, when I said BAH, it's basic allowance for housing. If you're not sure, I still got issues about that. We're trained for the buddy system. And so the buddy system tells you, I'm not alone. So if I don't have it, somebody else does. If I've never been there, it's people there already. Nobody goes to war expecting to die. We don't show up, Lord, it's the end, it's over. You don't do that consciously. You can see it all around you. Those of you who have deployed, you can see it all around you. But what the military do, what do we do? We clean it up like nothing never happened, because we want to take that memory away and allow you to look forward. So when you transition from active duty, you woke up, you became a veteran. So long as that transition is transition, it's a process. It's something we had to go through. You're going to have to go through it. But when you recognize, not only did I bring the federal government on this side with me, I brought state, as you just heard, local, nonprofits. I am open to do whatever it is I am supposed to do. But if you don't talk to yourself, you're not going to do that. You know why? Because money is a pimp. Money says, you used to get me all the time. What you going to do now? What you going to do now? And if you don't know who you are, you're going to run right behind it. And it's going to have you in civilian clothes now, looking just like everybody else, when we're equipped to do so much more. And the reason it's a beautiful thing to know that is because we who are veterans have done things that many civilians have not and will not do. They think we got it going on. To us, it's a job. But for them, they think we got it going on. And you know why? Because the news always reports negative information. It doesn't tell them about all of the families that we make with unconditional love, all of the places that we go in and clean up. It doesn't talk about the hospitals that we build and the schools that we build and the people that we help. It only reports negative information. So when they hear veteran, they're automatically thinking, they're great, because I've never done that. And we did it by choice. So now as we choose to move forward, our vision has to be greater than our past. So I could have came up here and did a TED Talk and tell you all about me and make you feel good and give you hope about how I made it. But then if I did that, your hope in me would have to be sustained by hope in somebody else. But when you make your hope in you, you could be the prophet over your own destiny. You can say things that you expect to see, and I promise you, the people you need will show up. But long as we keep looking backwards, and backwards was good, because we had BAH. But it was still an equipping that we were held hostage to somebody else's orders. But now, you get to tell yourself what to do. Have you ever asked the question, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I had to learn that. What am I supposed to do? Because I do a lot of stuff good. But I need to know what I'm supposed to do because I'll do that great. I already know that nothing significant happens by myself. So I meet wonderful people. I look for growth environments. Growth environments is where you're not the smartest person in the room. I got out after serving my country in all kinds of leadership positions and joined a leadership team. Why? Because it was a team of excellence. It had leaders from all around the world, and it could teach me to be kind and gentle when dealing with people that don't know the world that I came out of. And why is that important? And don't take this the wrong way, those of you who are not veterans. I call it the civilian curse. It's called an excuse. You can think about an excuse when you're on active duty, but your tail gonna be on time, you're gonna be in the right uniform, you're gonna be ready to move out. But on this side, oh, it's the traffic today. Oh, it's the traffic tomorrow. Oh, it's the traffic again. How many times you gonna give me the same excuse? Get your tail up early. Find a new route. Carpool. Catch the metro. But don't come in here and tell me about no daggone traffic again. But I meet so many people who like that. They're like, oh, it's okay. That's just how they are. We'll just keep paying them because they're going to retire in the next 10 years. That's just ludicrous. I couldn't understand that. And so as veterans, we do have to talk. We do. We have something in common, and it's called perseverance. We can go into the unknown and make it known to everybody. We can take sand and build up cities. We're able to do that. That's the best gift that we have by being veterans. It's called faith. I'm a faith person, so I can see faith a mile away. Because you step out sight unseen. And you don't even care about the results because you know they're going to be good. Because somebody else have done it before you. And if they haven't done it, you get to make it new, and they don't know what you're doing anyway, so you can get an award for doing something that's never been done before. We're equipped to do nothing but succeed. But there's so many of us who choose the other route because they don't understand. They stay with the VA. The VA is safe. The VA gives me money. I can stay right here. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to move beyond that. It's so much that's available to us. Well, I don't know. I've never done that before. Well, there are other people that have done it before you. They have gotten out. A lot of information I received when I got out came in the sauna at a civilian gym. That should never be the case. Then I go into other organizations and I meet other people that are veteran, and I find out cool things like the VA got really nice glasses. I don't wear glasses. But if I need some, I want some nice glasses, because when I went to Andrews, they gave me some plastic glasses that I don't wear. But these are some of the things that we have on the inside of us. We're so equipped to do nothing but succeed. And you already know not to do it by yourself. If you don't know, I'm telling you, don't do it by yourself. Don't do it by yourself. There's no reason for us to do it by ourselves. As much rank as I thought I had, as powerful as I was, I know what it feels like to be out and nobody knows you, nobody's saluting you. You don't have to be nowhere. And your BAH stopped. It went to zero. And let me tell you why I keep saying that, because mine was over $3,200 a month and it went to zero.
That's all for this edition of Veterans in Transition. We ask that you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And remember, we all have a story to tell. Until next time.